Today is one of those Sundays in which it all comes together. If you were here at the Easter Vigil, we heard the beginning of the Bible, the story of creation, when God breathed on the waters and calmed everything down and created what is. Today, it gets summarized in a little pericope, a little section of our history, so we can place it all in position of who we are today, 2022, as we are listening to the gospel and the Old Testament readings and that beautiful book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, the second reading, was composed around 90 during a period of persecution when the Emperor Domitian changed his title to Dominus Deus, Lord and God. And that reading from John the seer, we call him, the evangelist with great vision, sees a candelabra. And in the middle of that candelabra, one gold person, you might say, standing in radiant vestments. And he identifies himself as Jesus. The candelabra is a symbol of the Old Testament. John was a Jew, the apostles were Jewish, Jesus was Jewish, and Jesus today in this gospel introduces himself as the vision and the New Testament. So John is giving us some overviews. In the weeks to come, you'll hear things in John that are not predictions, but reflections on the past. Things that happened. Sometimes people get caught up in the book of Revelation, book of the Apocalypse, and they say, oh, the world is ending. See, this is happening in the world. That's all predicted in the book of Apocalypse. Not so. The book of Apocalypse is not a book of foretelling. It's a book of history, written in a mysterious language with hidden words, so the people who read it would understand, but those who are not in the circle of faith would miss the point. You'll hear that during subsequent weeks. The second reading is an encouragement for us to basically, the first reading from the Acts of the Apostles, is basically an encouragement for us as to how to live as Christians. This newfound community doesn't know who they are, and they're seeking their way. They know Jesus rose from the dead, and some believe it, some don't believe it, and Jesus reveals himself to them in many ways, but the apostles recall today's way in which they were hiding. This is the gospel. The night of Easter, they're hiding out of fear that they too would meet the same destiny that Jesus met on the cross. But what did they do? The Acts of the Apostles said they had faith, and don't forget the Acts of the Apostles is written after the resurrection, after the ascension. That's why today is a great day for everything coming together. And they baptize people. People come to believe in the name of Jesus. And today we'll celebrate with a baptism. Just to reiterate the fact that we're going forward. We're a church gathering, just like the early apostles gathered in the Acts of the Apostles. Just like the people in the Old Testament looked forward to the Messiah, and the book of the Apocalypse tells us Jesus is the Messiah. Again, we're moving forward as a Christian community. And today highlights it in the gospel of Jesus visiting his friends on the night of Easter. They're afraid. We give them that. They saw what happened to Jesus. In their hearts, they're still searching for Jesus. In their hearts, they're wondering, how could this have happened? We believed him, we watched him do miracles, he walked on water and all that happy stuff, but yet we saw him on the cross, dead. Some of us accompanied him to the tomb. Rolled back the stone. It's over. Case closed. And now the Roman soldiers and the guards are going to come after us. So they're locked behind closed doors in the room that is traditionally called the cenacle. And then something happens. Life happens. Life returns to them. Jesus. And the first message he has for them and us is peace. They're overjoyed. They think they're seeing a ghost. And of course, they're still searching for Jesus. Can this be him? Can I find Jesus this way? We know what happened to his body. He's dead. He's gone. Are we all having a moment of vision? And just to assure them, Jesus shows them his hands and his side and greets them. Eventually, you'll hear in this same reading context, Jesus will ask for something to eat, proof that he's alive. And those authors who recorded this, the evangelists, want to pass this down to us. But there's one missing. His name is Thomas. They call him Didymus. He's also called the twin. And I always like to say, whether he was a biological twin or not, he's our twin. He's the other side of all of us in so many ways. He's not there when Jesus comes. He comes in, and he's searching for Jesus too. But he's not going to find him. He knows where he is. He's dead in the tomb. And he comes into the cenacle, and what do they greet him? With this wacko greeting, we've seen Jesus. He's alive. Oh, can you imagine? Just put yourself there, please. You go to the cemetery, you go to the funeral, you go to the burial, and now he's back? No, he's alive. We saw him. He talked to us. Nah. He's still searching. He's still searching. As you and I are searching, let's face it, we're here because we have faith in Jesus, but we still want more of Jesus. We still want him in our lives. We still want him to answer our prayers. We still want him in our marriages, in our families, in our world. So the next week, Jesus does him one better. They're all together in the same room, and he appears to all of them again, as you heard, and to the twin, to the other side of us. Touch me. My hands, my side, touch me. It's really me. And he refers to Jesus in the terminology that the emperor wanted to be referred to as my Lord and my God, Deus Domini. And he believes in Jesus. So there's you and me. There's Thomas. And today we commemorate a saint, Faustina, who gave us a devotion to Jesus in a very special title of mercy, divine mercy. And she came on the scene right before World War II, in 1930s, seeking Jesus. Seeking, looking, searching for Jesus, like you and me and Thomas was. And Jesus appears to her and gives her a whole mandate as to how people, you and me, can reach him. We have the Gospels. This is a tradition that has started under John Paul II. It goes on that the Sunday after Easter will be called, after that vision, Divine Mercy Sunday. Great. A new way of getting closer to Jesus with the prayers of the Divine Mercy Chaplet. But the prayers aren't the answer. The action is the answer. Being like Jesus is the answer. Merciful, loving, kind. So Faustina is searching for Jesus, Thomas is searching for Jesus. We're searching for Jesus. And a newly released movie informs us that we're not alone. There was a man, the movie's named after, Father STU, who was searching for Jesus. You'll see the movie if you wish. I would advise it. It has some foul language, but get over it. Please. And in the movie, this guy is searching for Jesus. He doesn't know he's searching for Jesus, but he is. That's how we can identify with him. Because sometimes we don't know we're searching for Jesus. We're searching for peace of mind, we're searching for answers, we're searching for love. Don't forget, John tells us God is love. You're seeking love, you're seeking God. In any way you can imagine it. And Father STU, before he became a priest, was a fighter. And in all that action, he had an accident. You'll hear it when you go to the movie. You'll see what happened. And he finds Jesus in the midst of calamity. Thomas found Jesus in the midst of calamity. Faustina found Jesus right before Hitler invaded. We can find Jesus if we seek him, but we don't have to always wait for a calamity. He's here with us today. And as Stu goes through his life and enters the seminary, he's hit with an illness. No more detail about the movie. But it's a good example for us, having reflected on Holy Week just a while back. The cross and the calamity and the catastrophe of the crucifixion leads to resurrection. And the church continues. In a few moments, we will baptize Elizabeth. Bridget Elizabeth will be baptized because the church is still going on. From the Acts of the Apostles, when they huddled together out of fear, to the Last Supper, to the Cenacle, to today in St. Cecilia's Church, all waiting for Jesus, all seeking Jesus. All of us are. And we don't know how he's going to come to us. How is he going to come to us? He came to Thomas in person. He comes to us in the Eucharist. But there are so many other ways in which he comes to us. He comes to us in the Ukraine that continues to be bombed and destroyed. On Easter Sunday, Eastern Orthodox Sunday, and we see disaster, and if we look deep enough and clearly enough, we'll see Jesus. We'll see the mandate of Jesus to love one another, feed one another, clothe one another, house one another. And not only in the Ukraine, our focus is there today, but here in our own home, in our own towns, in our own country, along our own borders. Searching for Jesus, like Thomas was, like Faustina was, like Stu was, us. Searching for Jesus, and he will come to you and me in ways we don't expect. He'll come in a few moments in water. He comes in a few moments later in bread and wine. He comes in the person sitting next to you. He comes in the person who has a different language sitting next to you. Jesus continues to come to us, but we have to have the eyes of faith open to see him and experience him. You're not going to see the vision that John the seer saw, Jesus in white garments, surrounded by candles. I'm the closest to that you can get, and you ain't going to be happy with me being Jesus. Jesus comes to us in ways we don't expect. He comes in the poor. He comes in the alcoholic who needs sobriety. He comes to the family of the addict who's suffering with that person. He comes in people who have accidents, and healthcare providers, and EMT and emergency services. See how Jesus comes to us? It would be great to see Jesus all dressed up, shiny bright, and walking in the church door. And he'd probably say to us, what are you looking at? I'm already with you. I'm here. Don't look for me in the clouds. Don't look for me at the door. I'm here. I'm with you. Right next to you. Smiling with you, touching you, wishing you a sign of peace. Today it all comes together in the scriptures. How a man like STU finds God and gives his life over to God. And it's a struggle. It's not easy. I went to the seminary. It's hell on earth. But it's wonderful if you want to be a priest. And he did go through hell on earth. But if you have your eye on Jesus, you know where you're going. Whether you crawl, hop, or run, you follow. Not all of us are called to the ministry, but we're all called to be Catholics. We're all called to be Christians. We're all called to keep our eye on Jesus in our lives. Move all the other stuff away. Move the garbage out of our sight that blocks us from seeing Jesus in one another, in the poor, in the hungry. Things that block us. False gods. False images. They block us from seeing the real Jesus. And he's going to come in the simplest of ways to us. And he does continue to come in the simplest of ways. As we bite our tongue rather than curse back to someone who's hurt us. As we forgive and pray for someone who's cut us off. As we pray for the president of Russia as he continues to destroy life, 3 months old to 90 years old. That's how we'll meet Jesus. That's how we'll convert hearts, beginning with our own. It all comes together today. Perfect Sunday to realize who we are as Christians, followers of Jesus Christ who every day search for him. As Elizabeth, Bridget will be baptized, I'm going to ask you, her parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, are you going to be with her as she searches for Jesus? You, the community of St. Cecilia's, are you going to be with her and all the children of our parish as they search for Jesus? Are you sure about that? Do you commit yourself to that? Let us welcome our child into the church. And I invite Bridget Elizabeth's family to come into the sanctuary as we continue the church.